Welcome to the Legion Outriders podcast, your source for the latest Legion news, opinion, and analysis. And now, the Outriders.
Hello, Outriders, and welcome to episode 143 of the Legion Outriders podcast, a podcast devoted to Star Wars and Star Wars Legion. I'm Outrider Matt, and with me today is Outrider Dan and LJ.
Hello there.
Just LJ.
I mean, I swear I think I have a superpower, considering, I summoned Keegan to the cast and he appeared. And I've now summoned LJ to the cast.
Wow, delusions of adequacy. Holy cow, dude.
So who should we summon next?
LJ, you could just hang up now in disgust.
I will, actually. If you need to talk to anybody, Emily, my wife, is available. She could be scheduled.
Oh, actually, I like her. Yeah, get her.
We'll
Yeah,
get
I'd
the
rather talk
baby
to
in
Emily.
after that. He's very talkative these days,
yeah.
so.
How you doing, dude?
I'm good. I didn't realize this was episode 143, which is very convenient because that is the number of the Field Artillery Battalion that I happen to be a part of.
Well,
So
okay.
convenience
This is
and luck.
totally, the
I'm ready for
143rd.
it.
Here we go.
Indeed.
Okay.
That's where we're going with that.
That's Kismet. All right. Before we get started, I'd like to take a second to thank our patrons that make recording and publishing this show possible. If you'd like to support it, head on over to patreon.com/Legion Outriders. On today's show, we got a lot to talk about. There's stuff coming out in Star Wars news. We've got upcoming events, which LJ may or may not have inside knowledge on. I'm not really sure. Invader League information, and then we're going to be talking some upcoming bounty hunter lists that have got us excited. But before we get into all that, Dan, why don't you take us through the news?
In the Star Wars news, yeah. So Hasbro had their PulseCon.
Yes, it did.
Yes, where they showed off a bunch of stuff, which was, pretty much expected. The Andor's getting a whole Black Series line. But the one interesting thing that I saw in there, they said, quote, and this has honestly made me feel old when I read it, the Clone Wars era 20th anniversary figures are coming.
Wow.
I mean, that was the entire freaking Star Wars celebration. It was 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Man, that's
but
really cool.
The exciting part, though, they said that the Tartakovsky and the Dave Filoni series will both be represented.
Ooh.
So I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to my Shaggy Black Series figure.
Which one was that?
Complete my Jumping Grievous collection.
Oh, there
Yes.
you go. Yeah.
Oh, the
'cause
Shaggy? Are you disrespecting Jedi Master Shaggy?
No, that's what
was
I'm
that
saying.
the...
He was a Padawan, though. He wasn't a master.
Yeah, he was Padawan.
Right.
Well,
Right.
he's
I
a
know who you're
master in
talking
my
about.
heart.
Wow, what were those guys? The Ice Planet guys.
No.
No?
He was the scene where Grievous comes in and just slaughters all those guys in the wreckage.
Yeah.
He was that first Padawan that freaks out.
Oh,
And
okay.
he looks like shit because
Uh-huh.
they animated him looking like Shaggy.
Oh.
So his name is actually in Wikipedia, SHAG''I.
I know exactly who you're talking about. It was
So
good that he
good.
died.
Shaggy
But he was
from
only using
Legion
1% of his power. Old internet memes, yes. So, but yeah, Tartakovsky,
I like those.
his figures are coming out. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what they're going to reveal. They didn't reveal any actual figures. They just said that they're coming. And
Anakin
then,
eating a handful of grubs.
yes.
Crunchy.
And New York Comic Con happened as well, and they had a publishing panel which talked a lot about High Republic coming up and new comic book series coming up. What caught my eye, though, there's a new novel coming out called Inquisitor: Rise of the Red Blade.
Ooh.
Wow.
They're going to be following an Inquisitor named Iskat, so a whole new Inquisitor. Although her design of the art that they showed of her she's completely red-skinned. There was a background Inquisitor in a Darth Vader comic that matched that, so I'm assuming they're using that character. But the reason I like this, it's authors Delilah Dawson, who did the Galaxy's Edge tie-in novel Black Spire, and the backstory novel for Captain Phasma.
Oh, I've heard Phasma's good.
Oh,
Actually,
that Phasma book is amazing.
is it? Yeah, I
you need to pick up that
up.
audiobook.
Yeah, I actually got the Black Spire. I need to read it though.
Oh, okay, yeah, because the two novels are intertwined. They actually go. I believe Phasma was first, and then that story links into.
Oh, I'm glad you told me that. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go get Phasma.
Go get Phasma.
Yeah.
So if you like a Mad Max, post-apocalyptic survival story, Phasma is an amazing story. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So yeah, definitely pick that one up.
You been watching Andor there, LJ?
Oh, Andor.
Oh, you bet I have. When you mentioned the Black Series figures for Andor, several ideas came to mind that I won't bring up, just in case any listeners have not watched it.
Okay,
Well.
so we're getting a full new Andor refresh for Legion. That's been confirmed now. every character you find in the
Yes,
show
in
will be
about-
represented.
In about 3 years from now. Yes.
Every single one. No,
Hey.
there is, without giving away too much, there is a certain sergeant that I think it would be awesome to have a black figure of. Well, that's all I'll say.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
I mean, we all know
of a security nature.
Oh, yes. Those guys.
They
yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
would be fantastic to have as like
Hey,
extra little dudes.
Callus needs a mutton
Yeah.
chopped friend.
Yeah, exactly. And that accent.
Very inspiring, sir.
And that's why I would get it, because it would be funny. There's context here that I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, it speaks to your background.
So yeah, there wasn't much in Star Wars news other than of course, Andor is awesome. Why are you not watching Andor? I'm thinking other than Mandalorian, best show so far.
Yeah, I like it. It's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do we actually have any Legion news now?
Well, I mean, end of the month, we all know that our new bounty hunter friends are coming.
That's true.
I actually got a game in this last weekend.
Well, hot damn.
Yeah, I haven't touched Legion models in a while. Thank you, work. But our store did their monthly Saturday event, and they did the dynamic exit OP kit. And we need to get Outsider Dan maybe on a future episode, because he played as well. We didn't play each other. I got one game in while he had gotten 3 games in.
Wow.
So,
Was he losing that quickly?
no, apparently, yeah, those and reports from the other few tables where things were just going way too quick, and everyone's like, "What the heck? I can just walk up and some." Me and my opponent, I didn't talk to him to see if I could say his name on the cast. I'll have to ask him next time. But yeah, we basically had I would push because I was attacker, the 500 points. He was the 400 point defender. I would push the turret tracker up 2 or 3. He'd knock it down 2. I'd push it up 1. He'd knock it down 2. Like we were fighting back and forth on this thing.
Quite the tug of war.
Yeah, it was quite the tug of war. It literally came down to the 5th round. The last roll of the last defensive roll, I grabbed the box I needed. I had it in the end zone. I just need to wait till end of turn to reveal it. And he was able to swing a group of pikes around. Oh, I was playing Shadow Collective. He was also playing Shadow Collective.
Huh.
I had my bus forming a wall to try and just block off so I can get in the end zone without any line of sight on it. But he swung his pikes around my bus, shot. It came down to the final defensive roll where I needed 4 blocks on my pikes. I got 2. Dropped the box and I lost.
Womp womp.
Oh, but no, it was a tense nail biter of a game.
Well,
and
that's good.
Like I said, it lasted the amount of time that 3 quick games went. So.
Have you gotten to play the dynamic exit?
No, I mean, I thoroughly looked through that scenario and practiced setting it up a little bit at Celebration, but I think, Dianoga and just General Skirmish has been a little popular in my area as of late. I don't know if anybody locally is actually running Dynamic Exit, but, it looked interesting enough when we were pouring through the tokens and looking at it back in May.
Mhm.
So, I'm hoping. I do like to try everything at least once, so I'd like to see how it plays out. And, after hearing some of these reports, I can understand why, supports aren't valid units to bring, because I could just imagine zipping around with a fast unit like a Tauntaun or a speeder bike on that small board with a small amount of points and doing dirty stuff to people.
Or as the defender holding some E-webs or, something just to block off the end zone.
That seems like a perfectly valid tactic.
Yeah. That's why I ran Shadow Collective over Blizzard Force, because I couldn't use the E-webs in it. So.
It's the only
Makes
reason.
sense.
I did run a bus though, and which was my. I posted on. I posted everywhere except the Outrider Outrider Facebook. I did finish the Star Tours AA5 conversion.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, you got the blaster cannons fixed.
Yes, and Rex was in there and got the stripes painted. Masking off those stripes was fun.
Doesn't sound fun.
So we just got to base it, and it's awesome. So unfortunately, I only have one faction I run that could run it in. So, and no, I'm not picking up rebels.
I'm
At
sure
least
the
you got the
Ewoks
pikes.
will be able to use it.
They're getting an incognito Chewie ATSD. They don't need a bus.
I could just imagine that instead of Rex, you like find a way to strap C-3PO in front and center. You know, that'd be just like the ride.
You mean the lesser inferior version of the ride? But yes.
Yes. The newer, the
Nobody
newer
believes
one
that.
with multiple locations.
Yes.
Fabulous.
I mean, there's a lot of nostalgia for the. Anyways.
I love OG Star Tours too, so I can't
yes,
take
of
out
course,
a
why
dog in
not?
that fight.
Right. Okay, so we did have another little tidbit, but of course we kind of knew it was all happening. But they are actively working on a points rebalance right now, as posted.
So it was posted on Facebook. Somebody asked Asmodee in one of their posts, "Hey, what about the points update?" And they said it's being worked on, and we'll have it available, quote, when it's ready. So
There you go.
Any day now.
Yeah.
Wait for it.
Yeah, we're still
Here it comes.
we're still a little under in terms of time last year's update. So,
last
you
year
know,
was November.
early November. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to say
okay,
first week or
so
so.
right in that slot then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God,
so
was that
we're kind of
November?
Yeah,
in
it
the
was November.
ballpark. Yeah,
Yeah, it was that, and then the next thing after that was, the next major thing was LVO, and then everyone got to play with the new points at LVO.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, 109 days.
Not that anybody's counting.
I'm counting. That means 3 months
well,
until I
I
have
guess
to run that.
Since we're already talking about it, we might as well discuss how is the preparation for LVO going this year? Because, I mean, we're almost to that 3-month mark. That's when stuff starts getting really real.
Yeah, we've picked up a little bit more steam over the last couple of weeks as things have gotten a little closer to go time. The main priority effort still is the frontline gaming table inventory, because that not only benefits myself when I run LVO, but it travels to every single frontline gaming event that they do. And we are, as of SoCal Open, we should be up to 36 tables in that traveling inventory.
Wow.
So we've tacked on about 14 tables since LVO, and then we've had people have added tables in here and there. And I know there one day will be a shipment of tables that will arrive over by you, Matt, and that'll bump it up each
Fell
time
off
we
the
get
back
one
of a
those
truck.
shipments.
I don't know.
Oh God!
Wow.
Every time it adds, it'll be 20 or it'll be 5 tables worth. So I'm looking at that inventory being anywhere between 60 and 65 by the time we get to LVO, if everything we've got lined up goes through, which is
Wow.
awesome.
We could just reach out to Nick, and because he has, I'm sure, 75 tables in his inventory that he can just pull out of nowhere.
He has been very helpful to adding some high quality stuff to our inventory. After Atlantic City, he chipped in some of what I consider to be his best, and we were very thankful for that. And people really enjoyed those. We used them as streaming tables at the last LVO, and I think there's a non-zero chance we might see a couple more shipped our way before. Or after the Nick Bodnar Open at PAX Unplugged, as they're calling it these days.
I know he hates that name.
he had mentioned that he didn't want to give me too many because he was planning on really expanding PAX this year, and so if he chooses to add a couple more, we'll be thrilled. But we are looking pretty solid here. I did talk a little bit with Hank, one of the Adepticon leads, about getting that stuff shipped from Frontline Gaming to Chicago or driven to Chicago for Worlds. And I'm hoping that is something that will continue to happen as we get closer to March of next year. And we'll be able to help out the World's terrain as well. So that doesn't have to
That'd
start
be
from
fantastic.
scratch. Yeah, I think that would be very helpful, because that's again, assuming we hit our targets, the goal is to have the capability to host around 150 people without even having to ask like locals yet. That's kind of the end goal, is to have that be your starting point, and then your local group supplement, and you improve the tables that you think aren't up to snuff, or you rotate out stuff to keep it fresh. I think that'll be a really good system as we kind of get tournaments bigger and bigger over the next couple of years. So,
well, of course, Star
shout
Tours
out
is
to
always at
Frontline
your
for that.
disposal, sir.
That's
And to Dan.
Vegas
Yes.
now.
Yes.
But
Speaking of tables,
the table stuff is going good.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Now, so speaking of tables and patting ourselves on the back, actually, Outriders are very happy to be providing table number displays.
Yes.
Wow,
so
that sounds really boring, right?
No,
Way to
it's
sell it there,
not,
Matt.
because I spend money on that every year, printing out those little trifolds we do for the tables at LVO, and that table numbers are like the thing you forget about until the day before, and then you're like, oh, I need 50 table numbers. Where do I get those again? And like that's not something that events will necessarily provide. Most places are prepared to provide you with tables and chairs, but when it comes to the table numbers, that's something you usually got to do yourself. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to stop having to print custom, a ton of custom LVO stuff every year. And talking with Matt, I was like, hey, can you help me find a solution to this problem? And we have some moisture vaporators.
Yes.
Do you know about how tall they are?
So they're
Before you
going to
put the number
be
on?
pretty good size. So LJ
Okay.
contacted me, and I kicked it over to Jeff, the mad scientist in his laboratory. But basically, his idea that he came up with is, you've been to the restaurants with those like little metal poles, yes, with the little circly thing on the bed that you put your like table number in, basically like that, but using that as kind of like the spine and clamshelling on like a nice tall moisture evaporator. It's probably about 16 inches tall.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have the little cards on top for everybody. So it could even double as terrain for some of the tables, I'm sure. But they're looking pretty good. We're 3D printing like crazy right now. We're going to get another printer set up here soon so we can have, I think the goal's 100, LJ? That's what you want?
Yeah, we want to be able to do 100 of them, because that covers our ceiling for the biggest event we could possibly run right now, but also gives us lots of extras for, a little standee for TO table, or your painting entries, or whatever else you need them for. The point is to make them modular, and then there are two things that are being added to the TO inventory that are not tables. And that's one, so that will hopefully make its way to all the different events that are going to happen this upcoming year. From the FLG standpoint, and then there is also a generic TO toolkit box that we've put together. So it's got stuff like paper cutter, scissors. Those are both things that cut
Duct
paper.
tape, zip ties.
Yes, yes, zip ties for your unruly members that need a serious reminder of how to act at a tournament. No, it's all stuff that like we made a list after the last LVO, and we're like, what is something somebody asked for at some point, whether it be the streaming table, the TO desk, the judges, and I just started throwing that kind of stuff in a box. It's all new stuff. None of it's like, I had this lying around my house. But we just started to buy and acquire stuff that would be useful as a TO, and hopefully that box will get its first test run next week at
Do you have a paper cutter in there?
So we actually took the paper cutter out only because we had a really nice one at home that we can't find anymore. So Emily was like, all right, well, let's take this one back, and we'll just replace that one here later. So yes, we will have a paper cutter.
Okay,
no, there's not one in there at the moment. But
It's
I know,
on the list. That's the important bit.
I know you personally have had that issue.
Yeah. It's close to my heart.
We made sure to solve that one because, yes, paper cutter is something that comes up all the time. I want to throw like a thing or two of Clorox wipes in there because that comes up all the time. And like
You got
I
some
said,
extension
a lot
cords because I remember bringing
some
a pile of
extension
those
cords.
last time. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, those are good.
Some smaller end extension cords. I think we're going to try to do a bigger one eventually too, like a 50-foot or 25-foot, and then of course like a surge protector and like stuff like that. Yeah, that stuff I know is already in there. I went to Costco and I was like, oh cool, variety pack, in you go.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
anyways,
that's a big one.
Yeah, to wrap that for the tables, so the Outriders are supplying all that, which is basically all supplied by the Patreon guys. So thank you. This is your money at work. It's going to make, these traveling tables and, that much better. So thank you guys once again.
Yeah. So when you go to these events, you can point at that and say, "I did this."
Yes. That was my $5 right there.
Well, I was gonna say if you didn't know who they were made by, is there an indicator or a logo on them to help people know?
So that is actually, yeah, I did make sure to run it by you ahead of time, but we have got the blessing. A couple of them, I don't think all of them all, but they're going to have little like faded posters of the Outrider logo on there.
Yeah,
So
I think the faded
lest
poster
ye
look-
forget.
yes,
Yeah,
whether it be
I
on
would-
terrain or on stuff like that, I love that like look of when people do that with faded posters. So when you did that, I was like, dude, if you guys make 100 of these, yes, you could put your logo on a couple. Thank you. Next.
Yeah,
Next
that was
question.
when that was proposed in our internal Outrider chat. I'm like, so we can put our branding on these, right? That was my first question. I'm like, if they're going to go
We're
to all
going to be
these
spending
events.
a couple $100 on this, yeah.
Merchandising. All right.
Merchandising.
Speaking of prizes.
Yeah. Oh, we
Things
didn't even
people can
talk
get.
about prize stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
that's the
mean,
important bit.
honestly, I don't do a lot with prizes until these last couple months beforehand. So the gears kind of just recently got moving, but I know that it being an official, Worlds qualifier. We have our 4 seats to Worlds. We have our flight for the overall winner. Those should still be in place, and then. I don't know for 200% sure if we're going to get it or not, but my understanding is the prize kit that we get that comes from AMG Organized Play should be the 2023 kit. So it should not be the kit that still has the 2020 logo on it.
I was say they finally burned through all that stuff.
That's my hope, is that it'll be the newest stuff by the time we get to LVO, which is awesome. Hopefully we'll get a sneak peek of what people will see a couple months after at Worlds. I'm all for that, and I hope that works out in that way, because I think that would be great to be able to see some of the new stuff and have LVO be the first to give that stuff out. But, none of that has been 100% confirmed. That's just the hope at this point. But as far as stuff that I know for sure that's locked in, we did talk to 6up Supply. They were an awesome sponsor of the event last year. I believe they're going to have a booth again. And they are doing, I think it's 30 Force Flasks. So again, just another huge amount of those, which will probably be split amongst the side events, as well as maybe a couple for the main events, or whatever we decide to go with this time around. It's a full 200 sets, so enough to cover the main event and some of the side event people, of deployment markers, these solid metal wound tokens that are very cool, very hefty, and shield
They're
tokens.
so solid
as
you
well.
could wound someone with
I
them.
was going to say, just chuck them at
Yes.
somebody, hit them in the eye.
They're your last resort when
wounded.
you're out there on the mean streets of Vegas. So between the official prizes and these are some of the side prizes that have come up recently. I mean, really, they are kind of like main prizes, but some of the non-AMG stuff has been starting to pop up. There's actually another box in my office here that's just stuff I've been collecting as it's become available. So like there's a Shadow Collective starter and a couple unit boxes that I just tossed in there. And that's basically the goal for the next 3 months, is just collect like these little bits of swag here and there. I really do want to talk to a couple people like Darkfire or some of these other companies that we can try to get more stuff from over the next couple months. So, that's something I will be seriously looking into as we start to get closer to LVO. Once we get past SoCal, that's like, okay, the window is mine as far as the frontline gaming events are concerned. So I'll be in full steam ahead mode after the 22nd or so of October.
All right, so if somebody listening out there wants to either sponsor or give prize support out there, what's the best way they can reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that wants to, do anything related to LVO, whether it be, go to LVO and you're still trying to get that ticket, make sure you let us know. If you're trying to help or be part of staff or judge, again, find me on the Legion Discord. Let me know. We will talk. If you would like to sponsor a table, or if you have a table that you just really have not used very much, and you think it would be better served traveling to 7 or 8 events or so throughout the year, again, let me know. We'll get that added to the frontline inventory, and see that you're properly credited. And of course, with prize support, you just have to reach out, again, preferably the Legion Discord. We also do have an email for the event that we've used each year. It's specifically LVO Legion Event at gmail.com, all one word, nothing special in there. And you can always reach out there too if Discord's not your forte. Myself and Nima, the head judge, monitor that pretty consistently. And we like to get everybody involved. LVO has never been, it only has to have these sponsors or these people helping with it or whatever. We are open to whoever can help us, because it is truly a community brought event every year, and we like to celebrate being the biggest event of the year.
Hell yeah, and yeah, just show it off. But
hey, and
that's why I do the countdown.
We show everything off. We show off the community. We show off your tables. We show off the different businesses that are out there supporting the hobby, and it truly is a good time and an event we look forward to every year. So we greatly appreciate those
100%
that help out with it. Yeah.
So speaking of, you mentioned a little bit. Will there be world invites up for LVO?
Yes, there's the top 4 is world invites, and the number 1 is a flight.
Do you have a world invite?
I do. I got my world's invite at Warfare Weekend back in November of 2019.
I know that. Yeah,
it's still valid.
Yeah, that's a little while ago. Still good.
And you bet I'm gonna make sure my name's on.
Put
the
it
list.
in Tupperware.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm
I offered my services to. Yeah.
World's is kind of in a weird spot, actually. March tends to be a busy month for me, so I'm honestly thinking about going and helping and be the head judge for Worlds.
Oh, nice.
I know that might shock you, because I'm no good with rules. But,
right. No, I could think of better people, but
I may have discussed that with a person or two recently. So I'm hoping that if I do anything, honestly, I think it might be on the judging side, because I am invested in having Worlds be a solid event now that it's finally back, and I think I would be more invested in that success if I were helping with it as opposed to just showing up and playing.
Yeah, and you want to keep an eye on your tables.
Yeah, especially if I have to shepherd my own stuff that I've grown over the past couple of years. You bet I'm going to keep an eye on those tables.
So what I'm hearing is, if you're going to LVO and then to Worlds, is start the bribes at LVO.
Ooh,
correct.
Plan ahead, beat the rush. Yeah.
I like to joke that the reason why people tend to buy me so much alcohol at LVO is not because we're in Vegas, but because I spend 11 months planning the damn thing. So, I did find, especially this last year, that I would just turn around and John would come out of nowhere with a drink in his hand, good old Outrider John. He'd be like, here, have this beer. Okay. And it was just like the whole weekend. And it's always great, because it does make me feel good that people appreciate the work that goes into those big events, because it is a lot. It is a long time planning.
Awesome.
But
very exciting stuff.
We'll discuss bribe credit towards World's judge calls if that does pan out.
Nice.
That'll be
well,
exclusive. Yeah.
Speaking of systems, I don't. we going to have a return of bounties, or has that been set up yet?
I haven't talked to John about that yet. He did just secure a ticket to play at LVO. I believe Griffin got that a week or two ago. So I know he's going to be there in person, which is half the battle is, helping people get there or giving them a reason to go there. So I have a feeling if the, Grief Karga himself of the bounty world is there, that I'm sure bounties will come back. I mean, geez, not this last one was pretty well put together, but the one we did the year before that, I mean, I swagged that like 2 days before we left. We came up with that bounty board and got those suckers printed while we were on the way out to Vegas. We picked those up before we left home. So like, yes, it will probably happen. I'm sure it will be more organized than the year before last, and last year was a good testament to what Griffin does with the bounty system. So I'm sure if he's attending, we'll be on top of that once again.
Very cool. All right. Well, that is all sounding very promising, and I'm sure it'll be an amazing event, as it has been every time it's been held. But anyways, we're going to go and take a short break, and we'll be back to talk invaders, bounty hunters, maybe some other stuff.
All to the above.
Stay tuned. Hey guys, Matt here to tell you about our friends over at 6UP Supply. If you're like me and don't have access to your own 3D printers, 6UP Supply has you covered with a whole suite of printing services to bring those awesome files to life. The Outriders are proud to be partnered with 6UP, and you could find special themed terrain, gear, and tokens with a big discount for Patreon members in the Outrider Central section of the website. And that's not all. You can also get terrain bases, game supplies, tools, LED kits, and more. Stuff is being added all the time. So stop by the number 6upsupply.com and use coupon code OUTRIDER to save 10% on your next order, and let them help you up your game. Okay, welcome back, Outriders. And we, as noted, we've got some bounty hunters on the horizon, the near horizon even. Some closer than others. Some are just a bit larger, but further back, but look like they're about the same, but still approaching.
Forced perspective joke, kids.
Join me in the theater of the mind's eye. But Dan and I took a second to kind of put down some lists that might be fun to play when these guys hit the streets. LJ has one that he is very interested in. He's going to share with us. But Dan, why don't you go ahead and start us out, and then we will judge you and make comments at your expense.
That's how this works. I mean,
yes,
that's how this works.
It. All right, judge him harshly, LJ.
So yeah, of course, I had to include my boo Aiden in
what a
almost
shock.
Every list. Yeah, if it's an Empire list, it's got Aiden. But for a specific reason, because if you're running two operatives, porque no los tres. Get you that third.
That's not what they say.
So
no. My last name's Pena. I heard that once. Don't let him bring you down, Dan.
So yeah, wanted to do some double Mando and Inferno action, and I think double Mandos is going to be kind of the go-to, at least from what I've been hearing from other podcasts and other places around the internet. Haven't heard too many IG lists, but mostly double Mando.
I swear, I thought you were going to do a double IG list.
I do love the robots, but I still haven't quite sussed out how I want to do my builds on each of them.
Okay.
So
all right. I'm a little disappointed, I gotta say.
But anyway, the list is 10 activations. Starts off with Imperial Officer, because someone has to hold the underworld connections. Aiden with Offensive Push, Situational Awareness, and the rifle, because you need the high velocity nowadays. Boba and Din, which of course at the end of the month when Din comes out, we're going to get our shiny chrome spray paint and hit these guys.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
Have you ever tried to paint on just like a shiny like coating? It doesn't hold paint.
No,
it really doesn't. Unless it's designed for miniatures. Do not get just the metal rattle cans.
Are you sure? Yeah, I mean, just go get the automotive paint and just spray them.
No, do not do that. It just runs off. I swear. There might be a Space Marine army in a trash can somewhere that can attest to that.
Oh, but yeah, Boba and Din. You know what? One thing I've found that have been really awesome lately is emergency transponders, especially especially on the guys that have independent. So Boba's got offensive push.
I'm starting to see transponders pop up like a ton more these days, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Okay, which Boba are you doing first?
Well, it's his Empire list, so it has to be Empire Boba.
Okay, right, of course. I just want to be clear because not everybody at home may know. I forgot.
Oh, but yeah, Boba and Din. Boba with offensive push, emergency transponder, and a little recon intel action because you gotta get out there. Din, I actually straight up stole this from Nick Bodnar, so stole it from you, buddy. Up close and personal, situational awareness, transponder, the flamethrower, the jetpack, and the Beskar spear. That just seems like an amazing package.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about it. Even when you're in melee, you can use Arsenal, split fire, throw the pistol, which is versatile, out into something else, triggering the up close and personal, giving you a dodge for the situational awareness.
Ooh, it's a change your opinion right now. You're right.
I'm a Beskar spear fan myself. Yeah. I know everybody is all still hemming and hawing over the Amban rifle, but like I really like that close up and personal style of Din. I think that'll be really fun to play, especially if you've played that kind of cagey, Darth Maul saber throw style where you're a little closer to the chest. I think you'll find a lot of reward from using Din as your linebacker that way. So that sounds fun to me.
I fear the tangent this question's going to lead us to.
Oh, boy.
But how was writing that Amban forum post?
Well, I mean, it was pretty much everything like people expected it would be. It was like, did you do what it said to do? Okay, it does what it says to do. Like, honestly, those have been easy because, I know the cards now from writing the articles, and so you can see the dominoes fall ahead of time, and it's easy enough to have a lot of those questions kind of preloaded in your brain. So once people start asking them, you just throw them up on a silver platter to the devs. They confirm that things are supposed to work one way or the other, and you move on with your life. So honestly, the Amban has been there have been a couple hefty posts where people have asked a lot of clarifying questions, but as far as answering them is concerned, it's like, all right, here you go. Have
RTFC.
Kinda.
Speaking of which, because we didn't bring it up earlier, if you do have any questions, the Legion Rules Forum is definitely a great resource out there. Definitely use that. Take a look. There's probably an answer to a question already on there.
LJ's lonely. Yeah. He needs people to talk to.
The Atomic Mass Games Rules Forum, because it's not just Legion. I'm
sure there's MCP questions too.
There are. I will vouch for it being a good resource, and I will tell people I have, especially like newer TOs or judges that are like, I wanted to know what happened when two players were tied on victory points, so I wrote tie in it, and I got 1,000 results for X-Wing. True story, mind you.
No, that I 100% believe that.
I will reiterate this for the people that feel like, hey, it's too hard to use or I'm having trouble searching on it. Just go to the little search button. It's on the top right if you're on a computer. I can explain it better if I'm on mobile, if you're on mobile. But you want to go, when you search, there's a little button that says search by tags. You always never ever use the generic search bar. You always want to go to search by tags and then search to a related tag that you think your question might have. For example, if you're Dan asking the 50th Amban question, if you search by the Amban tag, it will only bring up the 5 or so posts that I tagged with Amban. which is a really weird thing to say multiple times. Don't recommend it.
Yes.
So,
Whoa, Black Betty.
so like, I'll tell you, I had people that were like, yeah, I tried to search for something and I got 1,000 hits back. Make sure you use search by tag. If people, they make jokes about like how I can answer questions so quickly. I don't remember all this stuff in my brain. There's no way I could possibly remember like all of the stuff that is taken care of on the forum on top of literally everything else I need to survive the game of life. So don't think we just try to remember these things as TO and judges. No. It's all about shortcuts. It's all about knowing where to find the information. And for me, it's the search by tag function on the forum. If you're a judge or a TO and you're having trouble using the forum, I'm glad you brought that up, Dan, because I was going to remind people. Search by tags. It'll take a search for force push from 200 posts down to 10 posts. It's helpful. Trust me.
Very good. All right. That insider tip brought to you by Mr. LJ Pena. All right. What else you got on that list, Dan?
So we totally got off topic there. As
No, we
I've said,
didn't.
I
It's all
fear the
topics.
tangent. Imperial Officer, Iden, Boba, Din. Of course, you got to have Inferno Squad, with Iden. 2 sniper strike teams, 3 stormtroopers, two of them naked, one with the T-21. Comes out to 797 points, 10 activations, double bounty, 3 operatives. It's hot.
Yeah. I don't like
Yeah.
it.
You don't like it?
No, it's sounds good.
Yeah, the only thing I wish I could fit in here.
Bounty hunter overlords.
Yes. The only thing I wish I could fit in here is somewhere get an improvised order in there, but unfortunately the Imperial Officer is too busy holding underworld connections. So
All right. Is it my turn?
yes, it's your
Okay,
turn.
here's my
Fine.
turn. I also did Boba and Din.
Except yours, you might have to wait a little longer because Rebel Boba is going to come
so
out.
we are doing Rebel Boba in mine, and I was going back and forth on this. I was working on it for a little bit, and I realized I made an error in there, so I've got a few more points to play with. But anyways, so we've got, instead of OG Boba, we've got Boba the Wise, Boba the
Dad
Strong,
bod
Boba the All-Powerful. No, it's Boba, just plain Boba.
Plain Boba.
Nothing?
Nah,
Anybody?
eh,
Come on.
plain and-
Yogurt?
yeah.
Oh
You're
my goodness!
spaceballing
All right,
this,
never
really?
mind. You guys, I was.
Oh,
It's Boba the Wise. Come on. Anyways, all right, and he's got Din in there. But we're starting out with Rebel Officer because Gideon's got to face Imperial Becky, I guess. And God, the command cards are going to be so starved for space in these anyways. With 2 bounty hunters that love to throw stuff, I'm just like let's try to take as much of the command hand. I was originally going to go with Leia. I was thinking Leia might be fun. But no, I've got underworld connections on him and portable scanners, so he can do a little bit of that. My Boba Fett, the old and the wise one, it's got Hunter and Tenacity on it.
Nice. Simple.
Because I'm
straightforward.
going to be playing aggressively with these guys, is my idea. With Din in there, he's also got Hunter. Seize the initiative, because I think that might be fun. I was really thinking about putting that emergency transponder on him as well. But then he's got the jetpack, the flame projector, and the spear. So
I don't know about C's because yes, you're giving him a token, but you're losing that aim and that dodge token with independent. It's like,
sometimes you just need him to go. But yeah, that's a good point too.
yeah.
That might get replaced with something else. I like
it really
that.
depends on like how you're going to play your Din. I have found C's to not be a bad upgrade for him at all, because if you jump him into that trouble spot, but maybe you now need Boba to join the action, or you need him to support what Din's doing, I could see playing a simple man. Or the rule with respect to support what the gun line's doing, and still get Din in order so that he can back out of there, or even jump in at the end of a slow turn like a 3-pip turn.
Yeah, at the end, 5 points for even a corner case scenario is not horrible, but that's definitely, I think that would be up for grabs. Rounding out the rest of the list, I've got Fleet Troopers. These are going to be distractions. Very, very much distractions.
Look, a fleet trooper.
Look at that, with scatter guns and an extra fleet trooper and fragmentation grenades.
He's got a disc. Get him. Yeah.
But depending on what's going on with my opponent, they might be loaded up in an AA5. Look, another big flashy unit to distract away from hopefully my bounty hunters and what they're doing. But I've got the Backworld Medic on there. I've got the Gonk. I want it to be pretty tanky, so it'll field some fire and maybe be able to put out some heals on units and or bounty hunters. With an Outer Rim speeder jockey and just the heavy laser retrofit for a little bit of poke, and to say, hey, pay attention to me. Then 2 units of Rebel Commandos with the Sapper upgrades. Because I've been wanting... I know it says sniper rifle on there.
Wow.
I hit the wrong button. So that's why I've got a few more points to play with. We'll throw in there. But duck and cover in there. And I really think that setting avenues with these guys, it's something I've been wanting to do again for a while. I don't think we get enough of those Sapper guys. What do you think?
Oh, well, I mean, you at 792 with the sniper, so the what?
Remind
me where
I'm thinking I can get another naked squad in there, possibly, with a little bit of finessing in there, which will bring it up from 9 activations to 10, which sounds like a much better number.
Because we don't have them yet, though. That you're leaving some space for Boba's weapon equipments, which haven't been revealed
How many
yet.
do you think? How many points do you think?
If
it's going to be anything like Din's,
like Din's, it'll be between 8 for an
30-ish?
expendable up to 15 for a reusable.
If he gets, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
There's some flex in there, so I'm sure. Yeah, once we get all the details, it'll adapt as there. But I think the core of having supporting units that can distract away from these very lethal bounty hunters getting up there and mixing it up in melee should be a lot of fun. And then just 2 rebel troopers with some medical droids for, again, same thing as the Backworld Medic. Try to keep these guys up and moving as much as we can. And I just toss some Ion troopers in there.
Ion troop.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm not happy about it either. But
do people actually paint that model?
we did before we knew how bad it was. And by we, I mean John. So... Again, it's all about distracting. Smoke and mirrors.
So people are so confused at why your list is built this way.
Exactly.
They don't know what to play.
Bam, bam, and you get in there. Anyways. But with a real list that I think you played against this one, you said recently, LJ, right? And you like the look of it. The cut of its jib.
Yeah. I was always very partial to the classic double bounty of Boba Bosk. And so when I saw myself lined up against one in my most recent Invader League game, I was super interested. I was here for it. So I took the game in stride and figured, well, let's see how some of this new stuff plays. So I lined up on the newest iteration of the Jeddah map that TTS has, playing a gentleman who goes by Fluffy Saurus. In the Legion Discord, and happened to
Very
be
fearsome.
one of my opponents.
Oh, Fluffy.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's good. He's real good.
Big Fluff, actually. He was one of my NA West opponents, and when I took a look at this list, I was like, I might not match up very well against this. I am playing Maul Pike's Shadow Collective, essentially, mostly because that was the last thing I had brought to anything. So I was just like, all right, let's just keep this rolling, see how it does. And, we knew that the list had a lot of good stuff to it, but, I really need to practice with it if I'm going to take it anywhere significant. And so I looked at his list, and he has a Boba Fett with C's and up close and personal, Bosk with Hunter and targeting scopes, classic, 2 dewbacks with tenacity and the T-21, 2 short troopers with the T-21 recon intel, and a single short trooper with Gideon Hask and an extra short trooper body, 2 mortars, and then Imperial officer with underworld connections and electro binos. And I looked at this list across the map, which has a lot of good, decent firing lanes if you can get around the buildings, and went, I might lose this game super duper hard. Because I'm looking at his list and going, all right, so bounty hunters can pick up my capos or already wounded Maul and do some hurt there. Dewback riders, you either have to deal with them or they're going to get into your lines and start pushing people around. And then, a solid gun line of 3 short troopers and 2 mortars, which mortars are good at panicking pikes. I don't think this is going to go very well. And we basically ended up playing a key positions game that was a skirmish game that was key positions in disguise, because we both put our objectives on the same side of the table. So I
Oh
was just
boy.
like, oh, we're going all in on this, aren't we?
It's going to be like that, is it?
And he was matching me violence for violence as we were deploying our units. I was like, oh no, we're really going all in on this, aren't we? And there's a particularly good spot with like a hangar door on his corner of the map where I was able to deploy Maul with the Phantom Menace as my first deployment and get a really, really sick infiltration from the start that threatened basically his KP and a dewback from the start. And that was a big, I think it threw off his mental game, because I was worried about playing Boba. Boba has whipcord and Bosk has Hunter, so he's going to be getting free aims against Maul. Somebody on the bounty hunter side is probably going to pick up Maul by the end of that game. And really what happened was he got kind of forced into this weird narrow lane where my pikes were able to swing around and take good shots at him, and he kind of had to work extra hard to take shots back at me. And that ended up just really cascading in the first couple turns, and we didn't make it to turn 4, I believe, because we knew in our hearts that we set up a game for maximum violence. And one of the things I really liked about that game was just the post game talk was super positive, and it's something you always want to see when you play somebody in a game of Legion, especially somebody you don't know, that you don't play very often, to kind of get into each other's heads and talk about your decisions on why you made X, Y, or Z decision. And we had a really good talk about how you can use stuff like fortified positions to fortify where you think you're going to go. He had used it to fortify where he was starting, but not really one or two moves ahead. And we were talking about a play where he could have really used his recon intels and his mortars to set up just a line of impossible barricades and mortars and shorters that I don't think I would have been able to shoot into very effectively. And it was interesting to talk about that post game and think about, well, here's how we could have used pieces differently to have a greater impact on the game. There were a couple other things. The dewbacks were kind of a problem because I didn't know how I was going to deal with them. One of them ended up getting kind of stuck, and the other ran in, and a capo pike squad just beat it to death with their stun batons. You could still hear the cries of those poor lizard today. And just going through your opponent's turn 0 decisions is something that I always find to be particularly valuable. So, not only was it cool to see what I would consider a more modern double bounty with, Imperial Boba, Imperial Bosk in their newer forms with all their new abilities and keywords and stuff, but also have like just a really solid post-game discussion about like what decisions that you made that you thought were good, what decisions you made you thought could be better next time, and for opponents to share that after a game, say thanks and move on was, pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And you mentioned that you were. Is this a list you're going to be working on some more, and you're using Invader League to kind of get some extra reps in with it?
Yeah, I had picked up Shadow Collective when they dropped, and so I knew I wanted to kind of get myself out of the droid space for a little bit, because I'd been playing that since they came out in 2019 consistently. I'd played nothing else but the droids, and I wanted to test them locally. I went to a couple tournaments. I did well with them, and so I was like, all right, cool. Let's, I want to prep for Invader and I want to prep for SoCal, but I don't really want to have to do a lot of thinking and theory crafting and testing. So let's just keep playing what we were already playing and see how that goes for me. And, so far it's going pretty well. I'm currently 3-0 in my pod. You play 5 games in total, so I've still got 2 more left to go, one of which I think is going to be tomorrow at the time of recording. So I've got 2 Rebel lists that I played, 1 Cassian, K2, and Jin with some Rebel vets. That was a heck of a shootout and ended up going all 6 turns. And then another one against Han, Lando, Chewbacca, 5 DLT Rebel Troopers, and 2 Commando Strike Teams, which was also just a knockout punch out from the start game that I ended up getting an edge on pretty quick there in that one. The first and second games I did actually self stream on my Twitch just because sometimes I like to go back and review the tape and think about decisions, but the third one was not. And yeah, so far things are going pretty well. I've still got a Blizzard Force list with the quadruple bikes left to play, which I am very much looking forward to. I believe that's the one that's going to be tomorrow night, again, as of the time we recorded this. 2 Imperial officers, 3 snow troopers, 2 heavy response units, and quad speeder bikes. 787, 11 activations. It's
Jeez, that
it's
much
pretty
bid.
Yeah, I know, right? And all those like chunky core troopers, because the core troopers themselves are all pretty much stacked. All 3 of the snows have flame troopers and extra dudes. 2 of them have frag grenades, 1 of them doesn't. They all have recon intel. The heavy response stormtroopers are the DLTs and the RTs. Both Imperial commanders have electro binos, and the speeder bikes all have emergency transponders. Yeah, that and it's on a bit of a shooty map too, so I think I'm gonna have trouble hiding my capos and my maul on that one. So that one I think I have a pretty decent chance of dropping, just because I think the matchup is not very favorable. And then I will end on another matchup that I'm a little apprehensive about: double AAT, triple Stap Rider, and 4 B1s.
Wow.
Yeah, that's going to
Okay.
be a lot of
that a-
repulsor. It's only 9
Yeah.
activations, and I do have the bid on that one, so I can kind of maybe safely play my game there.
Is
But
that a standard CIS, or is that the droid invasion?
no, it's standard because it relies on the T series to be your field commander.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that one, I don't quite know what I'm going to do on that one. My only real thought is that I just have to run away with an objective in some way, shape, or form. Maybe play something like, because I'll be blue, maybe try to intercept the transmissions to where, okay, now he's got 9 units, but only 4 of them can score. So all I have to do is kill those 4 units and not get tabled, and I'll be Gucci. That's my current thought process as far as that game is concerned.
You do got a lot of impact poke with the disruptors.
Yeah, the disruptors are real. It's tough with AATs, man. It's like sometimes, either you have to focus them super hard or you just totally ignore them. And with the triple Staps bearing down on me, I think it might be an ignore them kind of game. But, it always depends. If Maul can get into a good position and you get him into that weak point 2 in the rear, then it's like, cool, he's got impact 4 on the Darksaber. Okay, now we're making dinner here.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's what I've got left as far as Invader is concerned, and it is all a kind of test run for SoCal. We do have SoCal Open coming up here very soon, and I didn't want to have to do a bunch of testing for that, so I was just like, okay, cool. For sticking with this list, this is the list that we're going to play for a while, and I did decide.
So doing double duty on that.
Yep.
You get to play in the Invader. You get to test for real life there. Yeah.
Yeah. And
how do you think the field's going to look
this time? So, I think like Invader, it's going to be Bounty Hunter City because the store, one of the nearby stores, is taking pre-orders for Mando.
Right.
And
they're going to be coordinating, handing them out there.
Yep, they're going to be delivering that, and proxies are allowed if that does not get delivered.
Hopefully they're delivering some sprue cutters and plastic glue and everything too, so people can put that together. If not, bring some extras with you. You have a business opportunity there.
I think they'll be well stocked on that front.
Plastic glue list $20. This is war profiteering.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be. I think it'll be interesting to see how what I'm playing currently stacks up against how it stacks up against some of the new bounty hunters and whatnot that are coming out. I don't hate the matchup against the IGs just because their dice pools are a little bit smaller, and so heavy covered dice pool against pikes who have dodges, generally speaking, is pretty good for me. But their command cards are pretty dang good. And
Yeah.
again, I'm walking around with capos that are pretty easy to knock out at the end of the day. So I think that will be interesting to see how many of those I match up against. I actually almost brought my snail tank with double ion spiders that I played last season of Invader back, just because I really want to see the look on people's face when I start ioning their IG droids.
Oh, so that's a good thought. Will
stonks.
we have
Yeah.
a resurgence in the spider droid thanks to IGs?
Yeah, I mean, I think like some of the spider droids' natural predators have kind of maybe backed off a little bit, and I think ion spiders stack okay into Blizzard Force. There's places they're bad, but there's places they're also really good against Blizzard Force. I mean, you start taking actions away from speeder bikes, that can be spicy, and you know, catching some of the heavy response troopers out of cover is a good way to really, really burn those guys down here pretty quick. So, I think I would have liked to play that, but honestly, the bag's packed, and I'm just gonna play what's in the bag. I've got a tournament on Sunday.
Everything's
in
there.
my,
Yeah.
local. So yeah, I mean it's basically the same list, right? So yeah, I'm gonna play them on Sunday here. Give them one last hurrah before SoCal Open, and I'll be there. I'll be there supporting Endless, who is streaming the event once again.
Awesome.
He is going to bring us that live coverage, which is fantastic. So I'll probably I don't know, maybe we'll try to do like an exhibition game or something on Friday during their skirmish event, and then I'll be playing on Saturday, and maybe I'll jump in with him on Sunday if Saturday doesn't go very well.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a great time. I wish I could be going out this year, but not in the cards this time. So I'll be watching along and probably rooting for Keegan, but or LJ, I guess.
Hey, you root for whoever makes you happy.
Yeah. Okay. So Keegan. All right. Cool. No. All right. Well, that's definitely some things to think about there with all these bounty hunters coming down the pipe. I mean, there's still the refreshed ones are still kind of seeing more play. And
yeah, Empire players literally have 6 bounty hunters to choose from.
That's pretty
like
cool.
The decision paralysis.
But no Dengar. Very sad. They need
No,
7.
but he did make it onto a command card, so maybe
That's
one
true.
day.
He's coming. Yeah. Him and Forlom. Let's go. Anyways, big thank you out there, Mr. LJ, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. It's been a while since we talked to you, so it was good to catch up, bud.
Yeah, I'm always glad to jump on and talk a little bit of Legion, gush about various show releases and talk about other stuff that's going on in the sphere. So never a bad time on the Outriders.
Right on. Well, good luck in SoCal. And thank you everybody else for tuning in. If you have any news, questions, or feedback, you can email us at legionoutriders@gmail.com. Stop by our Facebook page, shoot us a message there, facebook.com/legionoutriders, or you can find us out in the world. LJ, I think we all know we can find you on the Discord as Talk Polite, right?
Indeed. Still hanging out on the Legion Discord as good old TP. Still perusing the Facebook group and helping run it behind the scenes. And, I've been trying to get a little more involved lately in our TO Discord. That's something as well. If you're on the Legion Discord and you reach out, you can ask for an invite to a little side Discord we're trying to grow these days that has resources that we've gathered from all over the world to help people run events. So on behalf of the Legion tournament circuit, if you're a TO or you find yourself regularly judging and want to talk to other judges, maybe you're a terrain provider or somebody that has some sort of other prize support that you want to get out there, shoot me a message on Legion Discord and I'd be happy to get you in on that. I don't want to post the invite out to the wild because it's easier to make sure the bots don't get in when you kind of know who the invites go to. But on the same token, anybody is welcome if they're interested in running events, have been running events, or like I said, provide some of those support functions that are absolutely essential to making our events the best.
Awesome. Okay, Dan, where can people find you?
On the Discord as either Outrider Dan, Dan Tech, or in the rules forum, searching tags for tag LJ.
I've got a question for the rules forum. How you doing, LJ?
Deleted.
Yeah, that's fair.
But also hanging out in your Twitch streams.
Thank you. Yes, you can join me on Twitch at twitch.tv/captain_archer or find me on Twitter at grn_archer. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
This concludes the current episode of the Legion Outriders podcast. You may cultivate a tactical advantage by observing the Outriders on Facebook or Twitter at Legion Outriders. Wisdom advocates subscribing to the podcast. Acting otherwise is reckless.